the house.
Yeah, basically that's what it's going to be.
I know Alicia said that we can do it at her place sometime, but she just barely moved in, so it's still getting set up. It's still kind of a work in progress. Well, we figure maybe by next week, for our next podcast, we can do it from the home of the Okeson.
So, I'm hitting this panel tomorrow.
Ralph
Good movies,
Macchio?
bad descriptions.
Oh.
It's got like Jay and Shannon and Jimmy Martin are all the panelists on there.
Oh, nice. Like half the geek show.
Yeah.
Right on.
And they told Lee he's like, they said there were already too many people there, so I couldn't do that panel.
Oh, that's probably only because Lee likes the Star Wars prequels, and I think they're like biased against him for it when it comes to taste in movies.
I think him and Carrie, or no, he said that he had a Lord of the Rings one, and then one of the actors, one of the special guests, he's doing the panel for them.
Oh, nice. Well, he's like one of the guys in charge of the whole thing, right? So, Anyway, I know Radio from Hell was broadcasting from there today, but we are broadcasting from the home of William McCully for this very special episode of Will and Mike Explain the Movieverse.
The Movieverse!
Movieverse. Oh, and Josh is here too. What's up, Josh?
Woo, Josh!
How's it going, podcast?
Good to have you back, dude.
We're just gonna make him a regular on this eventually, so...
I'm trying to be. Trying to fill in some empty space.
Usually Evan would be here too, but guess who forgot to text him?
Oh, well.
I wasn't feeling so hot when I left work today, so...
I hope you're feeling hot now. Dude, I think your Xbox is trying to tell you that people are online.
Yeah, that's some dude that I used to play Call of Duty with.
No,
He's kind of a douche. I think he might be 14, so...
Explains the douchiness. Anyway, for this episode, we were going to do a movie some of you may have heard of called Back to the Future Part 2.
Deuce!
Why did we choose Part 2 to do, Will?
Let's see. Is it because Marty McFly's awesome shoes?
Yes, it does have many awesome shoes and
moon boots, yes.
other very potentially cool vehicles that, honestly, since it is 2015 now, we haven't seen the flying cars or the hoverboards, but this movie takes place in November.
Right.
So it still has a chance to be very prophetic. October?
October 22nd,
All right,
because it's Christopher Lloyd's birthday.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, so this year on like the whole big Back to the Future 2015 finally coming about, the day they celebrate will be his birthday. So he was just like getting ready for this all these years. He's like, yeah, let's just make it that my birthday. That way when it comes time, everybody's going to be celebrating, Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd for Back to the Future. But it's going to be my birthday. It's going to be the biggest birthday party ever.
Man, 30 years in the planning of this epic birthday party for him. That's pretty cool. Well, yeah, it's 2015, and I don't think we've actually ever taken a movie where we were watching the sequel before we actually do a podcast for the original. I guess we could have done Empire Strikes Back instead of Episode 4 before that.
Yeah.
But
I was a little lost on that, but now it just makes sense.
when was the last time you saw this movie, Josh?
The last time I saw this movie was over the summer during my deployment. We decided to watch all 3 of the series, and it was a good time.
Yeah, for some reason these movies, even now, almost 30 years later for this one, 30 years almost to the summer, for the first one, they still hold up, and they're still really classic. And they were a classic trilogy back when really the big 3 were this trilogy, Star Wars, and Indiana Jones before Indiana Jones became a quadrilogy.
And it hasn't stopped yet, because now apparently we're getting a new Indiana Jones.
I'll believe it when I see it. On the other hand, I said that until Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out, but
allegedly.
So if you're watching along, we literally just have it paused on the screen where the Universal logo is about to come up. It's all just a big field of stars now. So
it kind of looks like we're about to start watching Star Wars.
Almost.
Which is kind of close,
And the Universal sign is about to come up just like Star Wars does. If you'll play it with us in 3, 2, 1, play.
Stop. Play.
Oh, no. Up.
Play now.
This time.
1, 2, 3.
There we go. Now do it.
I forgot that I was using the Xbox
controller.
Throwing me for a loop all the time.
This is a very professional podcast. We're using only the best equipment. I cannot stress that enough. So, oh yeah, Steven Spielberg had a bunch to do with these movies. I forgot about that because it was originally Amblin Entertainment that was releasing these.
Oh yeah.
You know, with Universal, I guess, distributing it. But the way this one starts out, where it literally picks off to the instant that the first one ended. I don't know that it's necessarily revolutionary, but it's so well done that it seems almost seamless. But I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I thought that truck was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah,
And now looking at it,
I hate trucks, and I think that truck is awesome.
My brother and I still fantasize about building a truck similar to that one. I can expect so many memories.
Well, if you could get that and a DeLorean coming, then
yes,
you'd have yourself quite a cool garage. But yeah, like it's funny looking at it now. Even though it does look awesome, it seems so 80s as well. So, but anyway, he's got a new girlfriend in this. It's a different actress from the first one, but
and his dad doesn't quite look like himself, does he?
Very strange. Yes, we'll get into that. I think we should say that for when he comes in upside down.
Definitely.
But his girlfriend's Elizabeth Shue in this one, who's the same girl that's from Adventures in Babysitting, which was also one of the first cinematic appearances of Thor. Kind of almost technically, not really. But anyway, the fact that he's got a fusion reactor on there that runs off of trash,
Mr. Fusion,
right? Like, to this day, we still don't have those, and I really want one.
I would be alright skipping the hoverboards and everything like that if we could have Mr. Fusion.
Just a little bit of clean energy. Come on, oil companies, quit burying every new technology that comes out for your greediness.
You guys can keep all that. I'll take the Google goggles on his forehead. You slide that down and it's like having a screen right there.
Well, if you watch the special features, which I have on this a ton, they talk about how he couldn't actually see anything through those glasses.
Oh, I bet. They look like they're made of just like cardboard and aluminum foil.
Well, it's funny, when this movie first came out, I was 8-9 years old. I think I was 8 years old, and every kid at school had seen it, but I hadn't seen it. And of course, everyone spoiled it for me that they're like, "Oh, it kind of ends with a big cliffhanger, and then there's going to be a part 3 coming out, next year." And so I don't know, for some reason that made me not want to see it that much. But still, just all the shots of what happens in the future, and the fact that it was a sequel to like one of my favorite movies at the time, which was a big deal because it was right up there with Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark and everything for me. I was only hearing bits and pieces about it, and one of the little tidbits that my brother told me is like, "Oh yeah, those glasses that Doc Brown has, they're actually a rearview mirror, and you can see all kinds of stuff, and it has scanners for like all over the car on it." So because they show a shot of it later, but I just thought like, "Oh, that's the coolest thing, and it makes so much sense." And I remember, I think I actually watched the ending of this show, like the last couple of minutes, just to see the future outfit that Doc Brown had, and like try to piece together, like, "Oh, what am I gonna see when I see this new movie? Like, what other kind of wonderful things are there gonna be?" Like that was the closest thing I could get to it, was watching when Doc Brown comes back from the future.
It's your kids,
at the
Marty!
end of the first movie. Yeah.
We gotta save your kids!
Except I had the edited version, so Marty said, "What happens to my kids in the future, Doc? Do they turn into jerks or something?" So like shocked me when he said assholes. Anyway.
Fun fact about the time travel, the DeLorean speedometer actually only goes to 85 miles per hour.
That's alright, you can bury the needle, right?
Right.
No, does it on the cutaway shots to that, though? On the insert shots?
I don't know. I googled it one time and I saw the speedometer and it's only 85 miles an hour.
That's really weird, considering that I thought it was supposed to be like a really fast, speedy car at the time that they came out in the 80s, right?
They are heavy pieces of junk.
Well,
Old man drivers.
Nice. Look at the Skyways and everything like that. All the other flying cars.
Yeah.
You can tell immediately we must be in the future.
We've gotta be in the future.
Well, it looks like the same. Everyone in the 80s thought the future was going to be like full of nothing but crazy neon colors and shapes and lights everywhere, and people were going to wear shiny clothes and stuff like that. Because, I mean, I swear this is the same future that they show in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Right?
I mean, they kind of have that that faux 80s futuristic look.
Party on, dude.
It's kind of iconic, right up there with, like the Mad Max post-apocalyptic 80s future
I always liked
look.
Waterworld. Is that weird? I loved Waterworld back in the day.
Get off this podcast. Actually, Waterworld's actually kind of okay, but...
The door to your house is right there.
Right? Take yourself... Get back on the 5, go down the 301, take a U-turn and get out of here.
Why don't you go take a long walk off a short bridge? It's about as funny as a screen door on a battleship.
Practice falling down. I'll be there in a minute.
This is Christopher Lloyd wearing old age makeup, but ironically he looks just like this nowadays because he only is 30 years older.
Dang, I saw a picture of Pauly Shore the other day because he played at Wise Guys.
Does he look about like Christopher Lloyd right now?
Dude, he looks nasty.
Really?
Nasty.
I thought he was. I mean, like, some people just don't age well, but was he like drugged out or something?
Horrible. Or I'm pretty sure he's got to be on something because he's took a bad turn real quick because a couple of years ago he did not look that bad.
I want to talk about the special effects on this just for a second. I don't want to go too into it because the box set of DVDs has been out for like almost 10 years, and it's totally worth checking out. Every little bit of trivia that's on that box set and any of the new Blu-rays is totally cool. But still, just the fact that the special effects on this, how they still hold up. And again, it's hard to explain to you kids that are so spoiled with your computer graphics and stuff, but like just how revolutionary a lot of this was, and how, you know, most movies that came out at the time weren't so special effects heavy, and just how special all these great ILM visuals were, and all the different camera tricks that go into it. So please check out all the special features, and
yeah,
I mean, just the fact of like all the split screen, not split screen, but like the fact that you could have the same actor in playing two different parts in two different spots on screen at the same time. This movie like took that to a whole new level. So as a kid, you're seeing something like that, and it's like the coolest thing, and you totally wonder, how did they do that?
Is
that Pauly Shore?
That's Pauly Shore, bro.
Whoa. I love how all the trash is full of the laser discs. And Blu-rays and everything.
Like,
DVDs are pretty much going.
I don't even know what the laser disc is.
It's funny to see some of the weird future predictions that they had in here. Like, some stuff is spot on in some ways. Like, for instance, when they go to Marty's house in the future and his kids are just always on their goggles, which are pretty much like our smartphones nowadays. But so little things like that, they totally called it. But then there's stuff like laser discs, or you'll see a headline later that says about how Queen Diana to visit the U.S. Like, totally not knowing that in 10 years from this movie she would die. Oh, right here, Doc Brown, he's totally just checking out girls. Like, watch as he follows. And of course, every girl is like either genetically enhanced or just goes to get boob implants or something. Oh, here come the power laces.
And about the power laces, they're actually strings that they attached to them underneath, and they pulled them.
Yeah, like there are guys under there that had to pull it down. Although, so I guess a couple of years ago, they released these, but they didn't actually have the power laces. Mm-hmm. But they promised that this year they're actually going to come out with the power lace, self-tying shoes.
I read somewhere that they actually sold like 48 pairs of those shoes, like without the automatic laces and stuff.
All?
Back in like early 2000, maybe.
Well, they were like $500 or something. They were outrageous for
the very first pair of them.
Right.
Yeah, the very first pair of them went at auction for like $32,000.
Wow, somebody's got way too much money.
It was a rapper.
That makes sense.
Tiny
I like
temper.
the fish scale hat, change.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool. I think I had a Nissan Altima that was kind of like that.
I was gonna say, I've seen that on a few cars.
Yeah.
A Mustang with that. It actually came with that 2003 Cobra.
Oh, nice.
It was pretty awesome. Stock.
You can like buy those hats at Comic-Con. Like, they have them all over the place. Those and like the knitted caps that are from Firefly and all that.
Oh yeah,
they've got a ton of those.
I love it. It's such a good time to be a geek. I mean, there's
really is.
You can get kind of anything you want. So now here's an interesting thing that I've never been able to prove, and I have nothing to back this up. But if you look at Marty's jacket and made it completely gray and stuck a capsule core symbol on the jacket, it totally looks like Future Trunks' jacket. Yeah. Well, and you need a collar too. But there's every now and then I see a jacket that looks like that, and I think that maybe that's what inspired a Mr. Akira Toriyama. Because it would have come out about the same time that Future Trunks debuted.
Oh yeah,
and it's from the future, which
from the future.
What's his name? Janai Trunks or whatever it is. Future Trunks.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've never been able to prove that. I have no evidence to back that up. But I mean, look at that jacket.
Yeah.
Come on,
that's pretty dang close. And then Christopher Lloyd's awesome clear tie.
Yeah.
Give me one. It's like you're not even wearing one.
He's got kind of a... is this shirt kind of Japanese, or is that...
Yeah, it's like Hawaiian.
They kind of called the Japanese influence on American culture.
Yeah.
I love his trench coat's kind of cool too, but the way it rolls up to the elbows is a little 80s.
Yeah. I think the thing they got spot on is that in the future, like with the Jaws movie that's coming up here in a second, we will just beat a freaking movie series dry. We will keep on making them more. What are we on? Like Fast and the Furious 12?
7 or
like the grandchildren are in this movie now. Freaking Vin Diesel's racing freaking gosh darn
Shelby Cobras?
No.
Whatever.
Stinking wheelchairs.
That gray car that just went across the bottom of the screen. I used to like pretend that I owned that car, and that like I'd sit on the swing set in my cousin's house and pretend I was flying it.
And a lot of futuristic cars here are actually Ford Probes, which was going to be the Ford Mustang. But it was a 4-cylinder, and people who love Mustangs enthusiasts actually thought it was a terrible idea to turn a classic muscle car into a 4-cylinder, so they renamed it the Probe.
They were just probing the idea, you know.
That's actually kind of cool. I had
Ford
no
probing
idea. That's certainly not a tidbit that the special features on the DVDs never tell you. Yeah,
That's
there's your Jaws 3.
Yeah.
Josh is full of all kinds of fun facts.
Jaws 19.
and the fact that 3D is like so big in movies now. So, actually, while you're talking about Mustangs and stuff, you notice Griff's car is a Mustang from the 80s, but it's supposed to be all kind of retro.
Yeah,
man.
See, a few of these cars look like Priuses.
There's the car from Blade Runner. Is it?
That's Ford Probe, right? Oh, the red one in the back right there.
Yeah, one of the spinners from Blade Runner is there somewhere. Yeah, that's right, the Ford Probe. Oh, look at all the Macintosh there. There's a Roger Rabbit that's right there.
And
Jaws down here.
Yeah, is there some video games in there? There's
yeah,
a lot of
there's supposed to be the Jaws video game.
There's Burger Time, a Magnavox.
Hello. I mean, what?
Hello, nurse. Oh,
they have an Animaniacs panel going on like right now.
Really?
I really wanted to go.
Oh,
yes.
man, I listen to Rob Paulson's thing all the time now. His podcast. It's funny.
That'd be great.
Do you guys remember?
Michael Jackson.
I know, man. And this is when he was still kind of black.
I think that's an impersonator.
No, it actually was him, but
was
they made it all like digital and stuff too.
Okay.
Do you guys even know who Max Headroom was? Does that name ring a bell at all? Max Headroom? This is Max Headroom, man. I'll be back in a moment. That's what they're making fun of here with the kind of choppy digitalness of everything. Max Headroom was a digital personality that was based on I forget the actor's name, but he was the next door neighbor's dad on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and he played the magician guy on Watchmen. Mm-hmm. He's in tons of stuff. He was like a con man on an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. He's one of those guys, you know. It's
that guy that was in that thing.
When I was a kid, I had no idea that they were like that it was the same guy playing all the different Biffs, because I think he did a good job. Like I got that it was the same guy playing Marty and stuff, and his mom, but for some reason I thought that these were all different Biffs. And I guess that's just a testament to Tom Wilson's acting.
Yeah,
love that cane.
He doesn't even need to knock with his fist anymore. He just has it on the cane.
I'm sure the arthritis is killing him. Look, he still kind of has old man 50s pants, though. See, here comes the Mustang again in the background.
And that's how I ride my hovering car.
That's about how I used to park the Pingree bus when we worked at that school together, huh, Will?
Yep.
Kind of choppy like that and jerky.
And I'd be usually like hanging halfway out the window anyways, so it's kind of similar.
I'm surprised that most kids haven't grown up a little more like Griff, like kind of twitchy and with bionic implants.
You notice how they portray all the kids in this as a little dumb, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Their intelligence isn't quite as high.
Maybe that's what
another
way they
too
called
much
it.
Stimuli, not enough brain power.
I didn't say that. Listen to our podcast.
We love you, kids. Still, the fact that they all have bionic implants and stuff like that was maybe a bit of a miscall, but I don't know. Like, I see things on io9.com and places all the time that, you know, shows we're not too far away from it, really. Mm-hmm. Here's a little cameo, Will. You notice who that guy is? Elijah Wood from Lord of the Rings, right there in the green hat.
It's Frodo at the actual size.
And that's the guy that plays Samwise next to him. No, I'm
That'd be hilarious.
That's not true. But that is totally Elijah Wood right there. You can tell, huh? Have you seen that?
I do see that in his face, yes. Double McFly.
Yeah, he can't seem to get his jacket to work though.
I want to make a burger called the Double McFly.
It sounds like it would have flies in it though. It actually sounds kind of disgusting.
Too far.
A two fly.
Man, look at all
Two fly.
all the televisions in this are all old tube televisions.
I was gonna say, yeah, look at all those TVs.
We've got
apparently it's all about Kennedy, huh?
We've got my computer up and Will's large Hewlett-Packard LCD screen, and I don't know, there's just not such a thing as tube monitors anymore. CRTs? Whatever.
Yeah.
Look, that kid, he's got like
tattoos on his face
that look all bionic. Oh, I like her like Psylocke tattoo when they got it from when they did that whole red potion thing on X-Men. Don't you got the scrote? It's a saying that never caught on. I think we should bring it back.
Talk about the scrote.
Yeah, man. What's the matter? Don't you got the scrote for it?
Don't you got the scrote?
Yeah, this McFly looks pretty sweaty.
Well, what's up
Marty
with everybody
Jr.
wearing helmets?
Well,
I guess safety first.
Well, have you seen what those hoverboards can do? Especially his. It's got rockets on it.
That's true. Extreme speeds.
Keep battling!
I believe the hoverboards were actually pulled by green ropes, and they just deleted them digitally.
Yeah, I think this was one of the first uses of erasing rope frame by frame, or erasing cables and wires. I know Terminator 2 had a little bit of that sort of revolutionized it. We'll do that podcast one day. That's one of those other movies that still holds up today, but had like graphics you'd never seen ever.
You know what kind of surprised me? Yeah. One thing that surprised me about like doing a podcast is realizing how many Arnold Schwarzenegger movies I actually do love.
Right? Like the guy was on a roll for a long time, and despite some of the stuff coming out nowadays that he's in, which I can't pass much judgment because I haven't seen a few of the newest ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, he was a force of nature in the 80s.
Did you ever see like Around the World in 80 Days with Jackie Chan? And when they go to like Egypt or something, freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger is like the King Tut kind of ruler.
No!
Oh,
what
man.
is this movie? How did I miss this? Oh, man.
Are those his pockets inside out?
Yeah.
With stuff filled inside out, so he had to actually reach in his
pants.
Put stuff in his pocket.
Oh, that seems insane. Kids in the future are crazy.
So
yeah, wait, is that a Mustang or is that a BMW?
That one's a modified BMW.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well, I saw. That's right. Okay, I saw the Mustang earlier land. For some reason,
It was like the
just because it had the same color scheme, kind of. Anyway,
We got to stay to facts on this.
it's like the M6.
Yeah.
This is going to be on the internet now. Everything has to be exactly true.
Because everything on the internet.
No, there was a time when I was kind of trapped at my cousin's house, and I was there for a week because my parents sort of ditched me there because I don't know, I guess they didn't think I was old enough and responsible enough to watch after myself.
You know, that Beetle is not modified one bit, and that's how we drive our Beetles today.
Oh yeah,
most accurate fact right now.
But like there was this movie and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because it was like the closest kind of Lord of the Ringsy movie you could get at the time.
Right.
But anyway, I would always just watch this future part over and over, just looking at all the little details everywhere.
Wait. The Midas Touch, Prince of Thieves?
Is that what it is? I'm just thinking of the one with Alan Rickman and Kevin Costner. Kevin, I can't talk in a British accent, Costner.
Don't know.
Oh, my brother and I always say this line to each other all the time. You can't ride a hoverboard over water unless you got power. Yeah, just like that guy says it. Who's that? Oh my gosh. This Schwarzenegger is like King Tut or whatever.
Yeah.
What is this movie?
Around the World in 80 Days. It has like a whole bunch of people
Oh wait,
in
no,
it.
I kind of... Okay, it's ringing a
It
bell.
didn't do very good. Like, I'm pretty sure it went like straight to DVD.
Oh, look at
That's a thing of the past, kids. Yeah,
We gotta
DVDs.
start putting spikes on the front of our boots.
I already do. How do you think I punch people or kick people when I walk
how
around?
that's how I kill spiders.
If you
is with the
don't
spikes
drop
on mine.
blood.
Yeah. That is pretty cool with the rockets and stuff, though. Batter up! I'll say that at work a lot. Nobody knows what I'm referencing.
Now I gotta get a job at your job.
If we just hire a guy, I'd totally get you a job. I'm dead serious. Like, I just spent 2 weeks training him.
As a driver, or?
Yeah, sure. You want to be a CDL driver, don't you, Josh? Forget all those computer skills that you've learned and picked up. Right. All the things you caught out of the Army. Oh, Air Force, sorry.
Air Force.
Air Force.
Yeah, it's all right.
The girl right there actually got seriously injured and had to be taken to the hospital and stuff. You'll see she's not in the rest of the movie.
Too bad they didn't have a futuristic soundtrack for this movie. They could have been like, "Move, bitch, get out the way." You know that old rap song, from back in the day.
Get out the way.
I guess that's still PG-13.
Heck yeah, it is.
That is.
Oh, the self-drying clothes.
Which
I could use that.
Definitely, I need that.
Especially when I spill oil or DEF at work.
If there's
I fall in puddles all the time.
You're just clumsy now.
I just cry so much that I'm always covered in water.
I've got a pit bull or whatever it is. Does she have a CD floating above her head? I think it's some kind of Walkman at the time or something.
There's a fun fact. The portion that Doc Brown fell from in the first one still hasn't been repaired, even in the future.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Then he gets the idea.
Well, these are weird baseball facts that I never got any of the sports jokes in this, but apparently the Chicago Cubs will never win the pennant.
The last time they won, a pennant, women still couldn't vote.
Hey, look at his. If you look at that guy's little pad he had in his hand, it almost looks like an iPhone with one of those credit card scanners on it.
Oh, little squares.
Yeah, they called that, didn't they? I like the Dustbuster.
Instant infant.
Oh my gosh. I never noticed that little ad back on the wall.
Grow your own babies.
The Dustbusters are still cool. I used to pretend one was a spaceship when I was a kid.
This is my exact reaction every time I leave the comic book store. I pull something out. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to read this. And then Mallory walks in the room and I just stuff it in my jacket, just like it.
What were you doing? Nothing. I was reading comics. It was porn. I was reading porn.
Don't worry, babe.
The DeLorean still looks cool. I know they're not very good cars and all, but dang, it looks awesome.
No,
hey, there's that one car.
Yeah, Ford Probe right there. That's what that is.
That's funny, man. I want one that looks like that, though.
They got every
Look
single...
Look at that body kit goes up into the wheel well.
Yeah.
It's all covered on top.
It does kind of look like a hybrid, though.
It does, yeah.
In this, they've got every Pepsi that was literally created up until 2010. The only thing that's different is they have Pepsi Perfect.
Oh, huh. What about
Pepsi?
Did any of you guys ever try that Pepsi Clear, Crystal Pepsi?
Yeah.
It was actually pretty good. I liked it. And then apparently it sold really well in Utah, but nowhere else.
Apparently if you mix
I'm just really young, I guess. I didn't,
You missed it.
I missed out.
Well, you didn't miss much, but it was still kind of cool.
And I'm not pulling an LA Beast from, buying it off eBay.
So apparently if you put Coca-Cola and milk together, it turns clear.
Whoa, what does the milk do to the Coke?
What does the Coke do to the milk? Are you kidding me? That stuff takes rust stains away.
Oh, man, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Man, Coke mixes really strangely with all kinds of things. Between that and Mentos and...
Same with,
cleaning blood off the thing.
Mountain Dew.
Clearing your connectors on your battery. And I love how he keeps the hoverboard. I'm so glad.
I would never suggest putting Coke on
Marty!
Battery terminals, though. It's all about the baking soda and water.
That's true, yeah. I just had to do that the other day. It helped a lot. This is a great idea, though. Who of us wouldn't go back and just, play the stock market like we know everything? Invest in Apple or Google or something.
Yeah.
Live off those dividends forever.
Invest in this podcast and make millions.
Now, how come, exactly, we all know we will. How come Doc is not cool with him bringing back the almanac, but he doesn't have a problem with the hoverboard where he can easily go and get patented and stuff. Oh, the cop car. I always thought it was actually a really cool cop car because, when you see it come in later when it's flying, it has searchlights. And I'm like, oh, it could be like the chopper, too.
No, what type of dirtbag friends just leave their, friends / girlfriend in the alleyway? If any of my friends did that, I would be extremely upset.
It's amazing she still marries him later.
Did you notice Doc Brown's shirt?
Oh, the Hawaiian shirt?
Oh, it changed.
Notice what it is?
Is it a bunch of blue penises?
It's an Old West shirt with a train on it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I wonder what that's leading into.
The foreshadowing in these movies is crazy. Man.
Oh, it is a futuristic train, isn't it?
Well, they talk about on the commentaries to the thing how the reason they leave her in alleys and on benches and just why Doc like unceremoniously knocks her out at the beginning of the movie is because when they took the girlfriend with him at the end of the first movie, it was just supposed to be a joke, and the whole thing with his kids was a joke. And when it turned out they actually had to write something about it and make some payoff with that, they're like, well, what do we do with her? I don't know. Well, let's just knock her out, leave her in the alley. Like they didn't know what else to do with the Jennifer character. There. So,
they couldn't leave her in the DeLorean with Doc. That's what I'm wondering. They had to leave her in the alley.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Is there any other show that you remember from before this where flying cars or something that kind of had a modified mode like that, where the wheels didn't went to fly? Like, was this the first show or... Because it's the first one I can remember.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him like transform until and now you see it these days, like on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, exactly. Coulson's car. What is it called?
Eleanor
or something.
Yeah.
But look, I love this cop car. How it's got like the searchlights on it and everything. It just seems like I'm like that's a really cool idea for a cop car. But there's a lot of neighborhoods that I grew up around that were like really nice neighborhoods at the time that are starting to get just a little podunk like this, and like it always reminds me of Hilldale. Like, whenever I go by a place like that, I always think, oh, that's like Hilldale, because when you see it in the 50s and it's being built in this show, which would be 60 years before this, it's supposed to be the nice big new neighborhood where all the rich people are going to live, and now here it is 60 years later and it's like all run down.
So this white cop right here, the white lady, she is Robert Zemeckis? That's his wife.
That's Robert Zemeckis? That's his heck wife. Of a makeup job.
Bravo.
Oh, well done, Mr. Zemeckis.
They tried to obscure her face as much as possible. That way they didn't like have favoritism or anything like that.
That's silly. Come on now.
See?
Yeah,
like the hat right directly in the
Actually, it is kind of a cool idea for the cops to have hats that kind of display different bits of information you might need.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. So wall screens, that's something that we all have nowadays. And the giant TV that they have in the living room that watches like 6 different channels, we all kind of have that by this point.
Yeah, I mean, we've got our phones, our iPads, and our TV and our computer all blaring at the same time. Yeah. There's 4.
Look at all the devices we're using right now just to make this thing.
Yeah.
The Chapel o' Love.
I would definitely do the screen, but I do appreciate a bigger picture.
Yeah, for sure. That's true. They have fax machines in every room. They kind of miscalled that one.
No doorknobs.
Oh, yeah, it's because it's all the thumb thing. I always heard we're not too far away from that either.
I blame the 80s for high-waisted jeans.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox looks good in those tights.
Yeah, he does.
How you doing?
I never picked up on that as a kid.
I didn't make any comments, right?
Like, I really didn't even notice until I was like reading it. I'm like, really? And then I'm watching it, I'm like, duh.
So there's, who was the guy that filled in for Crispin Glover in this?
Just some guy that they put a bunch of prosthetic makeup on. I don't remember his name.
He's another actor who's in some other things, but yeah, they just try to obscure the fact that it's not Crispin Glover. Here's a fun thing that I learned the other day listening to Nerdist when it was Crispin Glover's interview. He actually talks about how he actually just had a lot of these weird differences for the story and stuff like that for them that actually made a lot of sense, and he wasn't very comfortable with what they were trying to do, and maybe the message that this was going to come across and teach kids about how money and doing all this stuff to manipulate your life will make you happier and everything. But that's actually... But like he just had problems with that, and they decided that he was just too hard to work with, so they just canned him.
Yeah,
and he kind of went along with it for the first movie because he was sort of young and naive, and he just seen that they had just fired Eric Stoltz.
Yeah,
and he's like, well, I don't want to get fired, so he kind of kept his mouth shut. But anyway, the only problem that bugs me about it is that the producers and the director came out saying, well, he just wanted a bigger offer and a better deal and thought he was way too cool, and that's why we just like, well, screw it, we'll just do it without him. And that's apparently not true like at all.
Oh, really?
But yeah, but he's saying that's way too late.
That's what I heard too.
So it's not a big deal.
And then I heard he took him to court for using his likeness. And
which apparently now there's laws against that because of Crispin Glover.
The Screen Actors Guild. I was calling like the Film Actors Guild.
Team America.
Yeah.
And then
good job.
Little parking because people in the future don't know where to park.
Yeah,
Red means don't park here. Blue means good to go.
I think we still need those, especially downtown.
It's a fire strip.
And of course, Doc Brown, not giving a crap, parks in the red zone.
Right. Well, and I know that like everywhere says no parking or no landing, even if you've noticed, because of all the flying.
Like
vehicles.
to the left, that's another Ford Probe right there.
That's so weird. I never knew about the Ford Probes.
All the trash is actually compacted into squares.
Yeah. It really should be. It saves all kinds of space.
Yeah.
They have
makes
trash
recycling a
compactors
whole
in
lot
the
easier.
fancy houses, but boy, that poor guy having to be held upside down forever.
Right?
I remember my grandma had a trash compactor and she didn't want us to use it because she was afraid one of us was going to climb into it.
Legitimate fear.
Well, I used to climb into the dryer when we were playing hide and go seek. So, hey, Mom, nice pants.
I was really good at fitting in suitcases.
You still can, can't you?
I may be able to. Let's try. I've got a suitcase downstairs.
So here's the TV with 6 different channels playing at once.
And he has to make it even up then.
That just falls over.
Totally.
He just doesn't even care.
Needed.
Once it...
Yeah, like he fixes
The
it,
headlight
goes
tit.
back. Oh man, yeah.
That's literally what it said. I can't believe that. Her
Look,
boobs flash. Headlight tit.
I'm glad the double tie never caught on.
Oh yeah.
I already hate wearing a tie most of the time. Just one. Imagine 2. How do you even tie that?
He's super executive. The double tie.
Maybe that's how it is in the future. The more ties that you have around your neck, the higher you are in the pecking order.
The higher rank. Man, that guy has like 5 ties. I had a 6 tie once. No way.
Does that say Hilldale, the address of success, but it's crossed out and said
Suck.
Dog's walking himself.
The walking dog thing, yeah.
So it took less money. Okay, they built Hilldale and like a scale replica and everything like that.
Huh.
And then they shot most of the in-between shots first. And then they ruined the damn thing for like the first one, I believe it was. And
yeah, I love how old Biff.
they just like trashed it for the other scenes. And then when they had to go back and refilm it, they spent more money actually turning it back into Hilldale from the piece of crap into Hilldale than it actually took them to build
it
Hilldale.
in the first place. Oh, that's sad.
It's like just tear it down and build a new one.
Well, this technology right here is shown on several movies, like The Fifth Element. I can't wait till they actually come out with this.
I know, you'd think it's about time. Man, The Fifth Element is a movie we should do. I saw some of that the other day and forgot just how much fun it is.
Chicken. Nice.
Have you noticed that? I think the one side of that's a vegan pizza.
Nice.
They came
I don't
to
know. It's
all
still got
parties.
cheese.
Right? See, look, the kids are kind of on their phones. They're already, like, kind of removed into the digital realm.
Google goggles are like...
Just like, yeah, they're all wearing Google Glass.
I love if those little spots above it, like, connected to, like, the points of your brain and just, like, read your thoughts so you didn't even have to, like, say anything. It was
We're
just,
almost
like,
there,
phone.
Will. We're
Look at
almost
that.
there.
Phone.
He's watching Channel 57, maybe, or apparently. That's funny how, but their kitchen still looks classic. It's just got all these little modifications to it. That actually makes it a nice touch because the future is never all clean and Star Trek-y, which granted, Star Trek's like 300 years in the future.
Right.
But still, like, it still feels lived in. It still feels very real in this movie, and that's part of the reason I think it's so classic and timeless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like what they did here. They kept the old houses, but they threw in the new technology, like many houses are today.
Yeah.
Right.
Not everybody has thousands of dollars to remodel their house every single year whenever new things come out.
Yeah, exactly. I think actually looking at their house and looking at the carpet and the color of the walls, Will, it looks just like your house.
Yeah, it definitely does.
That we're in
Like, the
right
same
now.
colors.
It's just the same color
Big
scheme.
TV and everything.
Yeah, I need this little fireplace there.
And a guitar in here.
I'm always afraid to like mount a TV above a fireplace because I'm afraid the heat from the fireplace is going to melt the TV.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea unless it's like a gas one or something like that. I would say
Even
that would be a
still.
little bit more safe than electric, but yeah, just too much heat.
I know one time, long time ago, a friend of mine and I, he had a big, nice house, and I brought over a bunch of Transformers, and we were playing there by the fire, and like I remember pulling one of my Transformers away, and there's still a fingerprint. My because it was so hot, the plastic was kind of like melty, and I still have like a thumbprint on that Transformer because I touched it and it was like soft. And
Mind
then
you,
the
he
plastic
said
hardened.
he still has this Transformer, so that is a committed child to still keep your toys with you. Like that's
Well,
awesome.
it's somewhere in my brother's garage right now. Granted, still,
Fujitsu,
read the mind.
you're fired.
I would never want to get fired that way. I don't think I ever want to get fired. That's why I always quit my job first.
Yeah. I think I've only been fired
Issues.
once. There's one time I walked in to quit and the guy fired me and I said, I was just about to quit. And he's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, hey, so if another job calls up for a reference, can you just tell him I quit instead of I was fired? He's like, yeah, okay. So just as a story part on this movie, this whole thing with him getting fired and the fact that they talk about his career in music was messed up because he hurt his hand in the accident. Like, as a kid, I never got that because I watched the first one like a million times, and then suddenly there's this weird new story thread they're talking about. I'm like, wait, am I supposed to know this? Is this something that happened in the first one? I don't remember it or something. Like, what is that? And apparently, it's all just set up, for Marty to learn the lesson of. I guess they thought he needed a flaw, that he was a little too perfect and flawless as a character.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so they kind of invented this whole thing where when people call him chicken, he can't back down from a challenge. Right. And it's actually a really fun character trait, but I don't know, I feel like this whole thing with Needles, with Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers and all that I feel like it's kind of weird and unneeded and sort of shoehorned in there, but I don't know. Who am I? I'm not a Hollywood person. I drive a truck for a living.
Flea, Marilyn Manson, and Jack Black are all in the new D Antwoord video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta see that.
And it's a really good song, too. Like, even Mallory kind of likes it, and she hates D Antwoord.
It's funny how hardcore Marilyn Manson used to be, and now he's, like, really tame by comparison. He's practically, it's FM 100.
Yeah.
This poor actress just had to be carried around and be knocked out. Elizabeth Shue.
It was all a dream.
Well, Michael J. Fox had to be carried around like that basically too. Every time he did the hoverboard sequences, because they had to like screw his shoes to the board.
Right, and he kind of faked it. And like he just lifted his leg up all the time, and he was supposed to look like he was standing there hovering on one of it.
And he was just like carried around all over the place. I'm going to keep talking, but I need some food real quick. This guy's hungry.
Didn't you eat dinner?
No.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. We started this too early.
No,
thought you'd be able to eat.
I had a chance.
I hope you're all taking the time to eat something while you watch this podcast with us. We know they run a little long, but... So really, the DeLorean can only go up to 85 miles an hour, huh?
Only 85 miles an hour. That is also why the joke is to 88 miles an hour, because it's so heavy and so under horsepower, the V6 and in the back of it, that... to bring it up to 88 miles an hour defies logic. Thus allowing it to go into the future or into the past or just time travel.
Because you pushed it
that is a funny joke. I know a lot of people thought at the time that why 88 miles per hour, and they said, oh, because it's like two infinity symbols turned on its side, and the director and the producers are like, oh, we never even thought of that. We just thought it was a pretty nice little round number, Like 88 miles sounded good.
That does make sense. And then they drop her off in some random person's house thinking that it's her house.
Well, it's supposed to be her house, but they made this alternate future. So this is one thing that I really did like about this future that kind of blew, this movie that blew my mind as a kid is this thought of parallel universes and alternate futures. And if you go back in time, you get that butterfly effect that would totally screw up the future.
Mm-hmm. And this is the first video movie that actually did that to me as well.
And did it well, too. I mean, you can really, nitpick a lot of the little time travel aspects of these movies. Like the fact that, like, when the USA Today thing takes the picture, then Doc Brown's newspaper changes.
Yeah.
I like the picture erasing their faces in his pocket in the first one. Like
this movie is Carl Sagan approved.
It
Carl
still
Sagan's
works.
Like, this time travel movie is so on par.
Carl Sagan,
so
that quack?
On.
No, I'm totally kidding. I love
that
Carl
quack,
Sagan.
that crazy guy.
They don't even have concerns about, building regulation, stuff like that. They have the power directly in the back of their house.
I got a transformer that turns into a DeLorean.
Oh, really?
He's a little micromaster called Swindler.
Oh,
anyway, fun fact. I used to take that, pretend that it was my time machine, and that I get in them and do adventures. You know what was actually really cool was the Back to the Future cartoon. Maybe you guys are too young for that, but
man, I'm out of the loop.
Yeah,
apparently Will remembers it, but Josh, no way.
It was usually Marty, like a cartoon Marty, going off with Doc's kids, Jules and Vern, and they'd go off on crazy adventures together.
Hide your wife, hide your kids.
Man, this guy looks familiar. What other movie do we know him from?
Wait a second. No, that's
It looks like Danny Glover, kind of, but like I totally feel like this is the same family as his from Lethal Weapon or something.
I'm not gonna start guessing actors because I don't want to seem like racist.
I certainly don't mean that. Maybe it's just because he's kind of a tough guy and something about the sound of his voice or something. But We're not going to be terrorized.
This cop car just parked right in the side of another car.
Did you guys check out the new trailer for the new Ted movie?
The new Tent movie?
Ted.
Oh, Ted. No, I didn't know that was out already.
Seth MacFarlane?
No, it's not out, but they've got a new trailer out that they just released for it.
Hey, Johnny. Hate getting together with Boston girls. No, it's actually a really nice, easy, what's the word I'm looking for? A build-up or a nice slow reveal of just how terrible and hellish this alternate 1985 is.
You almost forget that it is 1985.
Right, yeah, like it's such a war zone and everything like that. This is where the movie really takes a totally different turn than what I think I was expecting. I was expecting most of it to take place in the future and be this fun future adventure.
Right, that's what I was kind of hoping.
In 2015.
All the other ones are one set in the present. Well, I guess this one's kind of set in the present. But I mean, one set in the past, one set in the super far past. And I was expecting one set, in the future, because this is the basis of the story.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing would be much more to the future, because that's certainly where they're headed, in at the end of the first one. And you're like, yeah, the first one all took place in the 50s. The next one's going to be in the 21st century. Oh my goodness, it's so far away. But yeah, this one bounces around between 3, almost 4, if you count the 2 parallel 1985s, right. 4 different times. And it's really clever that way, but I think that's why this one kind of throws people off, because that's the problem with any middle movie in a trilogy. Mm-hmm. The middle one never really has the beginning, and it never really ends it. So it kind of is stuck with all this exposition and middle stuff, where they, it can be kind of unsatisfying for some reason. Right. But then when you watch it as a whole,
reading the middle of the book,
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to get the build up, the character development, and there's no ending,
Yeah, so it's. But and this one, especially as far as middle movies go, there's so much that happens and they go so many places. You never have a chance to get familiar with it and to feel safe. And I think that's why this one, a lot of people kind of ignore it or have problems with it and stuff like that. But I mean, it's still awesome. I think that just the trilogy as a whole works so well together. Oh, but what we were saying, where each movie takes place in one particular timeline, right. For the most part, because even in the next one, it pretty much takes place in the Old West, in the 19th century all the time, 1885. But there was a time back in like 2006 when I think the DVDs had first come out that. I couldn't sleep, and I just wanted to put in a movie to kind of fall asleep to. And Back to the Future I'd watched so many times, it's kind of perfect for that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, but I watched it, and it had been a while since I'd seen it, so I stayed up and I watched it, and I got so into it that by like 1 in the morning, I'm like, that was cool. I might as well just put in the sequel now. And I watched that whole thing, and by the time I was done with that, it's like 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm like, well, might as well finish it. So I literally stayed up all night watching Back to the Future. And like, I totally like just skipped my classes the next day.
I do that all the time, where I was like, I know I need to go to bed right now, but I cannot sleep. Let's, put in a movie or, listen to some music.
That's what I do with Deep Impact the other night.
And by the time it's like
another
4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to sleep.
Yeah.
Holding it all nighter.
You're like, screw it, whatever. Actually, this little kind of museum video is an extremely clever way of exposition. A good use of exposition. The worst thing you can ever do is have a scene or dialogue be about what, be literal and straightforward. And this shows you the whole history of how we got to this point without actually like beating you over the head with it and having someone explain it all to you. It tells you the whole history, it's like, but it's a very believable way that fits in the world by making it kind of a museum informative video. In a place where you would actually see something like that. I do love this bit where Billy Zane and him come up to Marty here and say like, now we can do this the easy way or the hard way, and they just clock him over the head, and you hear that little the easy way. Of course, that's the easy way for them.
You should listen to your buddy Billy Zane here. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, the guy that just hit him on the head is 3D. That's his name in both the future timeline and this one.
Is it really?
And they had those sunglasses with the red and blue.
Yeah, I always loved those sunglasses. I remember saying something about it to my brother or my mom or whatever. Like, I want to wear glasses like that. And they're like, oh, that'll mess up your eyes, man. Don't do that.
And then in the first one, when they went back to the 50s and everything, the bully was still there, it's because it's one of Biff's goons, or
it
was Biff at that time, and so he had the paper 3D glasses on, and then in the future sequence he's got like another pair.
Yeah, I actually didn't ever realize it was still the same. I guess I knew Billy Zane was the same one, but it makes total sense that he is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, such a perv here.
You're so big. Hey, mom, look, bro. It's that chick from Howard the Duck.
Have you noticed that the roles have changed? At the beginning, his mom had a crush on him, but now he has a crush on his mom.
Well, I wouldn't say he has a crush on his mom, but it's hard not to notice her augmentation.
I'd be like, Mom, put those away. That shit gross.
It's great how the villain, like, his idea of, like, what he would do with all this money is a big casino that's all showy and, nasty looking. And the fact that even though he's married to his sweetheart, he still is cheating on her and stuff like that. Do you think it's any coincidence that his haircut looks a lot like Donald Trump?
Like spot on Donald Trump.
Right? Oh, she has a drinking problem. That's sad.
Just the stress of hard work, you guys. Give the man a break.
The guy he did. Look at his sunglasses. It's red and blue.
Mm-hmm.
I've never, ever noticed that in all these years. 25 years, Will, and I've never noticed that. I had to wait until this thing was on video before I finally got to see it. We went to pick up my brother from his friend's house, and they had rented it. And I wanted to see it so bad, but like I was wearing shoes, and they had a rule of like taking off your shoes and everything like that. But my shoes were tied, and I didn't want to slip them off. So I remember like crawling out on my knees and peeking into their living room. And their family must have thought I was the weirdest person. But it was the part where he's trying to get the almanac from Biff in the tunnel and like on his car, and he's on the hoverboard. So I was like, it's a hoverboard. Wait, what was he doing back in the 50s? And I was very confused. I'm like, I thought this took place in the future. I don't know why I thought it like Don Knotts. But...
In the future.
Well, I don't care how old she is, Andy. She broke the law.
Look at
You're just staring at her boobs, aren't you, Josh?
Yeah.
You know it's not real,
right? 5 minutes. Can you guys?
I'll be in my bunk.
I'll be in my bunk.
Yeah, it's again. There's a lot of exposition that comes out of here, but it comes out in a very natural way for the most part. I mean, if you actually think about it, you can tell it's totally exposition. But no, sexposition is only in Game of Thrones or most other HBO shows. Remember, kids, it's not porn. It's HBO.
It's HBO.
It's art, K.
Right. Like I say, Tom Wilson, I literally had no idea as a kid that it was the same guy for all the different parts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it totally makes sense in retrospect, but...
It's like, whoa, they must have hired that dude's dad.
No, I heard that he was actually growing up like a skinnier guy that was actually picked on a lot. So when they casted him for these roles and stuff like that, he had to try really hard to be the aggressor instead of...
Yeah, he had a real problem with it because, like, he was sitting there pushing Crispin Glover around and he was suddenly having flashbacks of the same thing happened to him, and it was like literal PTSD for him. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, I don't know if I can do this, man. I'm really sorry. Like, are you okay? You know? Yeah. Especially because Crispin Glover was so good at, like reacting so, scared and being like actually hurt, emotionally and physically.
And he played the coach on Freaks and Geeks, didn't he?
Tom Wilson?
Yeah.
I've never actually seen Freaks and Geeks.
I think I brought this up last time. Did we watch something with him in it before?
I know he's in a bunch of stuff that like you'd never notice it was him.
Freaks and Geeks.
Because the freaking coach is hilarious.
It's been like 2 years since I've seen it, though.
Tom Wilson is like super hilarious. He's actually a stand-up comic and stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
He's an awesome guy. But yeah, man...
Nothing's taken care of in the future. I mean, in the present, apparently.
Not even the graveyard. Well, talking about how dark this movie is, and maybe that's why it's a little uncomfortable. It was really a thing with the middle movie of a trilogy, too, back in the day. Because if you think about how dark Temple of Doom is compared to, Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, and then how much, obviously, Empire Strikes Back is so dark between... the cute Ewoks and and A New Hope.
I never noticed that this movie was made way before I was born.
Well, like 10 years or something?
Yeah.
Literally?
Tom Wilson as Coach Ben Fredericks.
So he really was a coach on Freaks and Geeks?
He sure was.
Huh.
Let me see.
Freaks and Geeks, good TV series. I think it only had one season? Freaks and Geeks?
Yeah, it only lasted a season. Oh my gosh, look at that picture of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, he still looks pretty much like 1955 Biff.
Yep.
Slowly morphing into the 1985 Biff. Yeah, it took me a long time, I think, several viewings of this to realize that they were back in Doc Brown's garage. Right. That Marty and him were in at the very beginning, the very opening sequence of Back to the Future Part 1. Not to mention, that's where they kept the DeLorean and everything in 1955. But like it's another fun little detail that you notice in these movies where they talk about how Doc Brown's family had a bunch of money and he invested his entire family fortune into the parts and building the DeLorean and everything like that, and how you even see a headline in the first one that talks about how the Brown mansion burns down, and all that's left is the garage that's down by the curb, or the
same garage.
Yeah, it's the same garage that Marty passes in 1955 that has like a Burger King built where the old mansion used to be, and we'll have to do a podcast on the first one too, and the third one. Why not? We'll do it all tonight. Completely out of order.
Get ready for our first 6 hours.
Secret release of the fourth one.
A secret release of the fourth one.
I'm just making that up.
No, there actually was a video game that's kind of an official canon sequel. That's the fourth one. Yeah.
Doc Brown's alias in that video game was Carl Sagan.
Was it really?
That's what he went by.
Your kids, Marty. Your kids.
Our kids. Hold on. I didn't know what kind of relationship this was, Doc. I mean, I was like 16, 17 years old hanging out in your garage even when you weren't here.
Yeah, the nature of their relationship is a little dubious, really.
I mean,
I guess the fact that he has a girlfriend kind of helps, but...
Yeah, I mean, from what it seems like it's innocent. He's just crazy.
They put in the girlfriend just so all questions could be taken out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how they do things like that on the original 60s Batman show so that you didn't think that they were like a gay couple living together.
Right,
yeah.
Right. It's like, wait, McFly and Doc Brown. Wait, but McFly has a girlfriend. Okay, we're good.
Well, there is a whole backstory on how they got together and stuff like that, like how Marty and Doc started hanging out. I wish I could remember what it is off the top of my head, but I don't know. We'll have to look it up or something like that.
Oh, for sure.
But I like the use of the chalkboard right there to kind of help illustrate exactly what's happened and what the difference is. I think, honestly, as a kid, I was about 9-10 years old when I saw this, and it kind of flew over my head a little bit. Like, I didn't quite catch what they were trying to tell me here, but I totally went along with it, and it made enough sense that I could enjoy it. But
and then as you grew up, you learned more and more about it, and it's one of those movies you got to grow with.
Oh, it's true. Although I will say at the end of the third one, I was like, wait, I want to go back to the future on the train. What's the deal with that? Tell me more, movie.
Where are we going?
Yeah, but it's...
You shake your head and yes, so many times, and eventually it becomes reality, right?
Yeah. I would hope
like
so.
Some things,
We just need to get a cure for Parkinson. And then maybe we can finally get our sequel, our official
Nixon's
sequel.
a fifth term.
Oh, yeah, that's like Watchmen. This is also Watchmen's world.
There we go.
They just invented Watchmen.
Apparently it doesn't happen in 2015, though. Sorry, you guys.
Well, it's 1985.
Yeah.
Well, but he was just in the future. I mean, anyways.
Now I'm confused all the time. You got a chalkboard to help illustrate where we're at with this conversation?
Well, right here.
Yes. I literally do have a chalkboard if we need it. We can do this.
This is a great setup for the next one. I think this has become a kind of maybe a bad trend for movies. The fact that they do all this great setting up in the second one that doesn't pay off until the third one comes out like a year later.
What's your name? Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
With the metal plate? Okay, there's
Perfect.
Too much referencing in here.
Uh-huh.
Well, again, it's all set up for what he does in the third one and why. But, again, the problem with that is, like, on DVD nowadays, it's totally cool, because as soon as this one's done, we can put in the next disc or whatever, right?
Right.
But when it comes out in the theater, they have all the setup in the second one that pays off in the third one, but by that point, most people who only saw the second one once a year ago or 6 months ago, just because they kind of liked the first one a lot and thought it was pretty cool, they don't remember all that stuff, so they come out of it going, what happened in that movie? Why did that wasn't nearly as good as the first one. So like I feel like the Matrix trilogy suffers from that. All kinds of other trilogies kind of suffer from following that.
I absolutely love the Matrix model. Trilogy so much. Like, I still love it to this day.
I don't care what you all say out there. I love it.
I love me some Neo. He's the one, mother.
And I could have probably done without the dance rave and the caves, but
no, that makes it that much better.
But when you see what sex orgy, when you see what they're going with it, with their animalism and their like the you know, just the carnal nature of it and stuff like that, which is kind of part of what makes humans, you know, as opposed to the machines and how cold and calculating they are. Like, that's totally the biggest purpose for it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, but at the same time, I know it threw a lot of people I knew off. Like, why'd they have a big dance party there? That was stupid. I don't get it.
Dance like you may never see.
Are they still within a matrix in a matrix? What's going on there?
Who's that white-haired dude that calls himself the creator?
I had that discussion with your brother, actually, when he was telling me about why he doesn't like it, and I'm like, no, this is why it's cool, and he's like, that's actually a lot of good reasons. I still don't like it.
That is my brother to the T.
Yeah.
He will stick to his way no matter what. We were actually having the same exact conversation yesterday because we were watching, the nostalgia guy going over, you know, why movies suck.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
He's still a lot of fun to hang out with, though.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We had these, like, huge argument about why, you know, Goku could beat Superman in a straight-up fist fight. He's like, I don't know, I saw this thing, and it made a really good argument why Superman could win. And I'm like, Superman never. Goku could blow up planets by flicking it with his finger.
Go Saiyan!
Goku has the ability to, no matter who he's fighting, if he gets a second opportunity to fight the same person, he's going to win no matter what. So the first time, he may lose. Second time, definite win, 100%. That's his power to be able to beat his opponent the second time.
Except, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens when he fights Frieza in this upcoming sequel.
Oof.
Frieza's got to be super powerful.
I just still feel like it's going to be so one-sided. I just don't know how Frieza's going to get the power to... I mean, it's just resurrected by the Dragon Balls.
Sean brought up, your brother brought up a big point to me the other day, actually, when we were talking about it. He's like, Frieza will probably... What's the one thing he's always wanted to wish for? Immortality. And once he does that and they can't get rid of him, I mean, who's to say that, you know, whatever else he can do to come back stronger, too? Because the Dragon Ball...
You get one.
Unless the Earth one gives you 2 wishes by that point, now that Dende is in charge of it.
I think we're getting 2 sides.
Dang it, you're right.
We're missing good plot.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, Marty, goes and asks for the almanac, and
he pulls out a gun, and...
Old Biff tells him, what he tells Marty that the crazy, wild-eyed old guy who gave him the almanac told him to watch out for. Right. You hear it just as they're walking away from the garage later when he hands him the almanac. He says, oh, by the way... In a few years, if a guy comes up like that, like you hear that conversation just as they're walking away from the garage later in the movie.
That was a pretty sweet getaway.
Where he does that thing with the stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always knew that, like, if I was getting chased by guys, I should do that same thing.
You're prepping, you're like, all right.
I've got it.
Come after me, I dare you.
It's still in my you know, somewhere buried in my brain. I'm going to use that one day.
I've seen this in a movie once.
Oh yeah, they already got Hulkbuster, cute,
they've got
super
Vision, and
that's
all
cool.
of them.
Hey guys.
Hey. The yoga squad is back.
How is it? Do you feel a little flexible now?
I feel like goop.
That's exactly how you're supposed to feel after yoga, like goop. This is actually a great gag though, where he steps off the roof, and I love the reaction on Biff too.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay, well.
Just like Aladdin.
Yeah.
I will show you the time traveling machine.
Do you trust me?
Shiny
no.
Shimmer.
You're in a flying car.
Nice shot by Doc. Did we just see Biff groin?
Ew.
Oh, he's got boxes on. That's still
Did we just see
a little
Biff's
too close
Biff?
for comfort. Yeah.
Did you see that guy's balls? Yeah, weird.
Weird.
What was that? Billy Madison?
It's definitely an Adam Sandler thing.
Oh, that's what we have to do. We have to do the...
See, November 12th. Wait. No, was it October or November when they were in the future?
It's October in the future, but
yeah,
November.
It was October.
But November in the past? Oh, okay. November 12th, 1955. The flux capacitor. That's like my go-to science-y word.
Yep.
Whenever I'm trying to talk like... So I work in trucking, but I don't know anything about trucks. I took like too many art classes and film stuff and everything like that, going like in high school and college and everything. So
the capacitor goes through the transistor, which ends up going through the flux capacitor. Did you just throw a flux capacitor?
No.
No, that's exactly how it is when I'm like at a shop filling up their oil. I'm talking to these mechanics who are talking about trucks, you know, saying like, yeah, and then when the pinwheel sticks in the converter and the thing, and I'm just like, oh, I know, man, I hate that. That's going to be hard for you to fix, isn't
Happens
it?
to me every Tuesday night. It sucks, man.
Of course, they're back to hiding it behind this sign, which is where Marty originally hid it.
Why don't they have the ground signs like that anymore?
Maybe it's a California thing. I think they do there.
If he can create a freaking car that travels between the past and present and future, why the heck can't he put a freaking cloaking device on the car? Like, come on!
Because we hadn't gotten Klingon technology like that.
Come on, Doc Brown! It's just bending light.
I think
Predator can do it.
Yeah.
I think perverted Doc Brown would like that a little too much.
That's right, the way that he's always creeping on women with those binoculars.
Right?
Like we saw earlier.
Doc Brown's my hero.
Speaking of binoculars, I think I had a pair of exactly like that when I was a kid. That he just gave to Marty.
Cool.
Oh, I love the briefcase he has here with all the money from different eras. Actually, it makes you wonder like how much time jumping and traveling Doc actually did between the end of the first movie and then when he comes back at the very, very end of the first movie. You know what I mean?
Right. With the possibility of, you know, the time traveling, he could have easily done 20, 30, 40 hops. In a matter of just days.
Well,
but it would seem like just a fraction of a second, if that.
Right, and especially with Mr. Fusion, I mean, he has unlimited power supply for the flux capacitor now.
Wait, did you notice that those were all different years?
Well, yeah, and he would have had to go collect them. So that's what I'm saying. I love that. Something inconspicuous! And he looks like the most conspicuous beatnik ever. I love the fact that you see a bit of Biff's like family life right here, where he lives with his grandma and they just kind of yell at each other all the time. But it sort of reminds me of Nelson on The Simpsons. He was always like that for a while. They've had episodes where he sort of reconciles with his different parents, but still, for a long time, he was pretty much Nelson from The Simpsons was pretty much Biff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I love the fact that he's such a jerk even to these kids, and he throws their ball up on this balcony. Go get it. Ooh. Yeah, I know. It's a great shot too, actually.
He knows to throw it just over the peak of it so that it doesn't bounce back.
Right. Love the fedora.
Is that Kerry Jackson?
Yeah, he's always wearing them. All these cars are so cool. They did do a good job where a lot of these cars are actually from the 40s or early 50s. Right. Because that's a mistake a lot of movies make is, you know, if it's in the past, they'll get cars from exactly that year. Mm-hmm. And it's like nobody had a new car at the time. My friend had a car where he was the only one who could start it. It had a little bit of a trick. Yes. And he was always like, just like Biff on Back to the Future.
What do you call it? It's
being cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look at that orange belt.
And the high-waisted pants.
Yeah.
I gotta start rocking the high-waisted pants again.
Oh, the women are doing it. They look ridiculous.
Bringing it back.
I hate freaking high-waisted jeans. Just as much as I hate sagging pants.
But the pants have got to be plaid when you pull them up to your nipples like that. I love the fact that they're cans of oil. That's a big deal to me since I work shipping oil all the time. I think cans of oil are awesome. That's Roger Rabbit, by the way.
Yeah.
That guy plays Roger Rabbit?
Yeah. He does his voice and everything. Please, Eddie! Nice!
It sounded good on the podcast, but that's probably one of the worst.
Which was another Christopher Lloyd production.
Oh yeah, he was the Judge Doom in that. Oh, he's amazing and horribly scary in that movie.
They show glimpses of Taxi in that 80s cafe, and both Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd were on Taxi.
Oh yeah, was Michael J. Fox on Taxi?
Uh-huh.
I remember Christopher Lloyd, but...
I would love to see somebody try to attempt that in public now. Just looking up a girl's dress. How many people would
oh my gosh.
Like, what'd you just do? What was that? Get out of here with that.
Yeah, you could never get away with any of that stuff nowadays. Of course, this era predates even Mad Men, and you see how women are treated on that show.
Yeah.
Zales, jewelry. Holy crap, I didn't know that store was that old.
But diamonds are forever.
So this set was used for a couple different movies, this backlot. Yeah. I remember one of them was Gremlins. There's a couple of... I wish I could remember off the top of my head. That'll probably come to me later. Whoa.
I wonder if this set is on the studio.
That's how I feel.
It is. Every day. It was in Universal's backlot forever. You could take tours of it and everything. I remember it was... I only remember Gremlins because I watched it recently during Christmas because along with Die Hard, it's like one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Now with Gremlins, if they get wet, then they multiply, or they turn... all right.
But if they eat after midnight, they turn from a mogwai into a scaly gremlin.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Gross.
And they also are allergic to bright light, and direct sunlight will kill them.
And there's only one female one, and it might be transgender, which is okay. But that's what... I read this like little article of things that you never picked up when you were a kid watching movies, and it's in like the second Gremlins movie where like Spike takes over. And,
I think it was technically transgender because it was a lot of them like changed physical properties because they were in that lab that Saruman ran, that Count Dooku was in charge of. We should just do that movie. I love the two Gremlins movies, and the sequel is like a perfect parody or like satire of the first one,
and
but like done in seriousness. But it's amazingly funny that
New York.
Yeah. Some really famous voice in that, Michael Winslow. That's a name that you don't hear very often. Michael Winslow was Motormouth Jones from the Police Academy.
Yeah, sure.
Like, and
he was hilarious. His stand-up was awesome.
This is where he went back in the past and actually gave it to him.
Right, which is what was going on after he ditched them in Ugly Old Hilldale.
Turns on the radio to the... What is it, like baseball game?
Just the little things they had to do, like where he tosses it, in the back seat. Since they were doing like all that split screen motion. What's the camera called? Anyway, it was really hard to do that.
I actually just read the name for it. It was like a kid's, like a person's name almost, like type of style.
Motion control camera was the kind of camera that they had to use to do it. So they'd film it once with him on one side, and then they had the movements of the camera programmed into the computer, and then the camera would do it exactly the same, but when the actor was on the other side, then they'd have to overlay the film with each other. It was like a whole huge process. Nowadays, you can do it like on your... I could do it on my laptop that we're staring at right now.
Do it on our iPhones and stuff, or smartphones.
That's a good thing that Biff had that blanket in his backseat so Marty could hide under it.
Right?
But I love it. Tosses the oil.
Does he like have to carry a blanket in case he gets cold on the way home?
Maybe it's actually he's a smart idea about it because you can use it to snuggle with girls on a nice cool night.
Mm-hmm.
It's not such a bad idea.
Smart man.
Oh, but yeah, here's the part where he tells him about the kid or a crazy old man with wild hair or whatever it is, wild eyes. Right here, yeah, as they're walking away from the garage. He locks the garage though, but he locks it from the outside. Like, I don't
know. Right?
It's just a deadbolt,
That's how you
just keep it closed from the wind or whatever.
That's how you know you're a psychopath. You're probably storing people in your garage.
Yeah, Marty should be looking inside some of those cases in there for chopped up body parts.
He's like, do you want to build a snowman?
Does it have to do snowman?
You will live as a walrus or you will not live at all.
Are you doing Tusk?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I will. I'll have to watch that sometime. I love the extendy antenna. You don't notice that anymore nowadays, but like,
and coming from an RF field, they both have their antennas sideways. Well, one's kind of sideways and one's,
No, they're both kind of diagonal, yeah.
Either way, that would not transmit far at all.
Yeah.
Really?
They all have to be pointing straight up in order to get distance.
Well, it's a future walkie-talkie from at least the 80s, if not the 21st century.
That has the pull-out antenna just for, antique reasons or...
Maybe it's an aesthetic choice that,
yes.
that Doc Brown just likes the pull-out thing.
It's a good
That's what I was just about to say, is I miss the portable phones you'd have in your house that had the pull-out antenna, because I thought it was awesome. Also, you could whip people with it.
Call.
Yeah. Or even the cell phones that had the tiny little one that pulled out.
Oh no, I was raised proper. I didn't whip anybody with something that might break, because if it did, then my butt would be bruised.
Whatever breaks off is going to go upside your ass.
I love how all this stuff still has tags on it, like you just barely bought it so you could come over real quick. You ever notice those?
It's got style.
A stupid bike with the tassels. Where do you get that at this time of night?
Probably stole it.
Actually, if it's November, actually, the sun could be down pretty early. So
yeah,
that's a good point.
Gosh, I hate the winter.
I know, right?
Where did you buy bikes back in the day? There was no such thing as Walmart.
Papa loves bongo.
They had the bike shop.
Bongo.
Haven't you ever seen Pee Wee's Big Adventure? They had a huge bike
My
shops back
bike!
I said I like you.
Like!
then. I know you were, but what am I?
It was actually a great moment where he runs into himself. And, like, it still could work. Pretty much everything that happens in this movie in 1955 could still have been going on exactly behind the scenes in the first movie. I think there's actually a part in the first movie where you see a guy ride past with a bike, and it's completely unintentional. You can actually tell it's not Doc Brown. But for a while there, before freeze framing and stuff, a lot of people thought, like, oh my gosh, they planned that so far ahead. It's totally Doc Brown, There's stuff like that. The whole thing where the Biff's goons are chasing him, and he ends up above the stage and everything like that. Like, all that could pretty much have happened,
Oh, yeah.
If you watch the first movie, nothing really contradicts itself.
Yeah. I love how nonchalant he has this conversation with himself.
Yeah, it's actually so cool. I just read a comic. If you're ever into Transformers comics, you got to read More Than Meets the Eye, which is out right now, and it's like really super well written. But the Megatron of the future, who's an Autobot right now, he has a conversation with Optimus Prime from the past, because a bunch of Autobots went to the past, and Megatron was kind of getting them on their quote-unquote time phone.
That's
but
funny.
it's a whole thing. But anyway...
I like right here that he corrects him. He knows his equipment so well.
He's like,
he's able to remember almost everything.
Yeah, and whatever mistake he made, but actually makes it paradoxical, because if he hadn't been there to tell him to correct it in the first place, in the first one, then they never would have gotten to this point anyway, and the time machine wouldn't have worked probably, and something like that. So
right,
the lightning bolt wouldn't have made it. Oh, but anyway, it's just great to hear future Megatron, who's kind of peaceful and realize the error of his ways, talking to Prime from before the big 4 million year war that they had. Anyway, it's super cool.
It's just like, whoa.
Go check out More Than Meets the Eye, because it's really fun. It's super cool.
Also, guess what?
All kinds of very cool Doctor Who's toward a time travel science stuff in that one.
Speaking of sciencey, guess what I just added to my queue at Dr. Volt's?
What's that?
The new Galaxy Quest line of comic books.
I bet that's going to be fun.
I can't wait.
Galaxy Quest is a highly underrated movie that's amazingly good.
Now I fill out the loop. I'm going to have to get me some comic books from Dr. Volt's.
Oh, yeah, dude. You got to grab
out.
yourself a hold there. They're free, and you get 10% off any purchase over $20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet deal. Yeah, it's too bad. They actually use Crispin Glover's a lot in this, in pictures and some of these other shots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the guy didn't see a dime of it and stuff. And yeah, because of those court things that he took him to court over, it's like super illegal to do that to actors in movies now. It is cool that everybody, like the first film was so beloved that really, aside from the whole Crispin Glover thing, everybody came back. Like apparently even a lot of these are the same extras that were there before. The band members are the same. It's really cool.
Oh, I've got to point out this part real quick. In the first movie, it shows Biff spiking the punch, see?
Oh, yeah.
And then here in a minute, it'll show Crispin Glover come over and take a drink of the punch. Oh. So they're like, what if his momentary act of courage was because
came because Biff had spiked it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool thinking about.
Liquid courage.
Liquid courage.
Marty pulls off that black hat so well.
Yeah, for reals, right? Actually, is a pretty cool outfit, like even by today's standards. In fact, you actually see a lot of people walking around with that kind of jacket on, and those fedoras.
I think they should make social events where people can just, obviously it's just a dance club or whatever, but take it back to 80s, 70s, even before that, and wear dresses and suits and stuff like that, and
right?
Just, meet people where it's not. I do appreciate the
right, the kind of rave sort of thing.
Every once in a while to meet up with some people, and not go the whole social media route. It would be nice to be able to go to dances and bring that back up.
It's funny because for me that's kind of how it always was. But here you are, like 10 years younger, and you're telling me about how it's all like social media and stuff like that. I'm like, it is. Like, oh, okay, but you're right. Like I think there's something very classical, very very nice about just people all get together and dress up nice like this.
And nowadays, if you don't have the balls or whatever to, just walk up to a random stranger and be like, hey, you're pretty cute, or, how's your day going? Treat them respectfully or whatnot, and get their phone number. It's either online on the internet, or
you're already friends with them and you know their whole life.
You basically have to have a Facebook page just so she can check you out and make sure, like, oh, this is what this guy's into and what he's like when his friends are like, okay, so he's safe to go with. I guess it's a good thing, but at the same time, it's, like, stressful to me.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I feel like I have to keep up with that just to be able to prove I am who I say I am. Like how
you don't have to prove anything, Mike.
like how Strickland has that Patrick Stewart kind of Captain Picard haircut, right?
Yeah.
He actually did have some hair, around there. Every time I see him, I always just think of him on Top Gun. He was like in a bunch of movies, and he always played the exact same character.
Trying to hold on to what he still has.
Right?
Like Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, he does.
He totally
exactly
does look like Vladimir
Putin.
Putin. That's actually these are great bits where you see him interacting, like, the scenes from the first movie are actually in the background.
Yeah.
And how they did it too, like I say, it was really hard to do something like that back in the 80s.
Mom, you smoke?
Yeah. You smoke too? Marty, you're beginning to sound just like my mother. Which he finds completely ironic.
One of my favorite lines from the first one that I don't think we get to see here is that guy that's in that one thing, He goes, did he steal that guy's wallet? I think he just stole that guy's wallet.
He took that guy's wallet. I think he took his wallet. Yeah, I think he's one of those weird character actor people that you see in different things.
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy that the principal just goes and hangs out in his office during this dance. And, I don't know, I guess this is his version of taking a break from monitoring and chaperoning the dance. But
he gets a little alcohol in away from everybody else.
He did, huh? Because he totally doesn't he have it in his drawer or something? Or didn't he take it from Biff? I think he took it from Biff and then Irished up his coffee there.
Yeah. He's like, I'll just partake in a little bit of this.
Yeah, how different the worlds are now where, taking a little shot during the workday is nothing frowned upon, but if you do it today, people are like, are you an alcoholic? Do you need help?
No, I just need to relax.
So sensitive to the... Well, alcoholism really is a problem. I mean, honestly, I can talk about one of my buddies that... he was such a fun, crazy guy to be with in high school and just after high school, and none of us really saw a lot of the signs that people do see nowadays, and
right.
We probably could have done something more for him. He's doing good now. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, how many times has he been in and out of rehab? So it's like, I guess it's good that people wonder about stuff like that, but it's at the same time, sometimes people are just want a little bit of relaxation. I love Ninja Marty here. Like, all the different things he's doing, sneak around, and where he's hiding under the disc, and he like, bites into his hat to hold back a scream. And right here, this triumphant moment where he actually gets the almanac, but it's a total fake out.
Oh,
because it's just that dust cover that they so slyly set up at the beginning of the movie.
It's just a Playboy.
Before it had, a dust cover. Before they had dust repellent paper.
Ooh la la!
That seems dust covers. Have they pretty much gone with the wind?
No, well, I don't know. Like, books still have them and stuff, right?
Books? What are books?
It's all about saving that penny now.
What people read before a Kindle.
What's a Kindle?
It's kind of like a Nook.
What's a Nook? It's kind of like a Google Glass that you hold.
That you hold? You mean you have to use your hands? It's like a baby's toy. No, but the fact that you see the scenes from the first one in the background all the time, like right there where you see Biff. right as Biff's pinning George's hand behind his back
with the liquid courage.
Courage. That's such a great touch. Yeah, exactly. The luck potion. I never thought about that with Biff spiking the punch, it might have been just the extra, encouragement that George needed to hit him at that time.
Yeah.
He's so happy when it actually happens. He gets to see the triumphant moment of his mom and his dad.
Yeah.
They learn to love each other.
Yeah, that actually is. That actually is really cool. Are you okay? That weird Chris McGlover voice. I think Chris McGlover's pretty cool. He nails it in a bunch of movies.
Oh, yeah.
I was hearing in the interview with him that when he did Charlie's Angels, and he didn't think the Thin Man should say anything because apparently he had lots of lines and lots of expositions. And he came in and said, "I just think he should be silent, not say anything. It'd be totally weird."
Yeah.
And McG was just like, "Totally, yeah, of course, let's do that." He's the most memorable character in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets a chance to punch out Biff too. This guy. Yeah, what else is he in? He looks kind of like Brent Spiner, but
he's been in so many things, and you can never like recall what those movies are. But you're like, I know that guy. I've seen him in so many things.
Yeah, he's one of that guys.
It's that guy.
See, they're keeping their antennas up now, Josh. Does that make you feel better?
It does. And there's the guy with the glasses again.
3D.
He got him with that same move. He's done that like 3 times now. Where he says, "What the hell is that?" and like shoves him down all at the same time.
Explains the character traits of the goons.
All right, here it's totally setting up, of course, the end of the movie with, catching on to those flags and stuff. There's a lot of things in this that really are great. This movie is so much fun to watch again and again for all these years because of all the little touches like that you notice that you don't realize at first.
Mm-hmm.
This Johnny B. Good sequence goes on a lot longer in this version than it does in the first movie, though.
Which I'm okay with.
I guess Michael J. Fox in the first one, I think he actually did learn how to play that whole song on the guitar and totally does it, but they still dubbed over his voice because he can't sing a lick.
In the time it took from the first one to the second one to be made, he had already forgotten how to skateboard.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
How they change his clothes so fast?
I like how Biff's goons get kind of a chance to shine a little bit in this movie or have their moments, It's cool to have a fun chase sequence with them, yeah.
They're dumb henchmen, too.
Who is it? 2 goons, 2 hired goons.
2 hired goons.
It's the Simpsons line, I love.
Oh, there's a crash. What are you guys doing? Everyone, come around.
Gather around, everyone. Let's all stare at them.
Man, who else could have played this part besides Christopher Lloyd? Doc Brown, and played it so memorably.
Oh, man.
Like, just look at his facial expressions as he's talking to stuff. Well, get out of there! And the way his mouth moves and his eyes and stuff.
I like how he misread lines and he just went with it. 10,000 gigawatts!
Yeah, gigawatts. Oh my gosh.
It's like, it's
like my computer here has 600 jigs. 600 jigs of memory. What's wrong with what Doc Brown says?
Hey, your computer's getting jiggy with it.
But this band really is cool. The fact that he just tells them a little bit of what he's doing, they totally improvise this whole song, quote unquote improvise it.
You know that new sound you were looking for? Well, listen to this.
Your cousin Marvin Berry. Have you guys actually ever heard Chuck Berry? He really is totally awesome. He's the one that sings a song on Pulp Fiction that they win the dance contest to. The Jackrabbit Slim Twist Contest. He's the one that does he sings the song that they're doing with what is it called? About the young couple that gets married. And it goes to show you never can tell. That's Chuck Berry.
Oh, okay.
So he's seriously cool and pretty much is the father of rock and roll.
Well, what about Elvis? He's the king, right?
Well, actually, they did take some flack about the fact that, the producers took some flack that they were insinuating that a white guy actually inspired a black guy to create rock and roll. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, guys, look, we're not trying to do anything like that at all. We're just making a fun movie. We're sorry if I'm saying it's so good.
No, we didn't mean any harm.
Yeah.
He was just playing a song that he already heard.
Yeah, he was just inspired by this. And it's all cyclical, right? Because Marty was inspired by it, and he inspired by what Marty does, and I don't know. Right, we're all just people, man. Can't we all just get along?
A little, sooner or something.
Boy, the villains were really nice not to tackle him in the middle of his guitar solo, though.
Such friendly guys.
Okay, guys, let's just wait. Let them have this moment.
Actually, maybe it just goes to show that they're not so bad after all. They just want to enjoy a cool song.
So I think
this is actually pretty rocking.
If this was made today, go ahead.
Oh, just the guy's expression as he looks at his guitar, like, what'd you do to my guitar, man?
What was that noise? That screeching, horrendous noise.
Exactly.
If this was made in these modern days, the actual 2015, I think that Christopher Lloyd's character, the closest thing we have to it now would be Jim Carrey at his age. that he is now.
Yeah, you could probably get Jim Carrey to play a good Doc Brown. Like they kind of have that same.
But after seeing Dumb and Dumber 2, I would never want to see that ever.
I don't know. Jim Carrey was actually good in that. I just blame the writing and the story. And Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels were really cool in it, though. But it's just a crap movie. Oh, so here's a weird thing. So as he tells him, if you ever have a kid and you name one of them Marty and he sets fire to the living room rug. I mean, at some point, didn't George McFly sit there and think like, what the heck? We have this other son, and he looks just like the guy that introduced us to each other way back when. Like, what has Lorraine been doing on all these late nights when I've been writing Biff's papers? Like, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't he actually sit there and think?
He looked exactly like my son. What the hell?
Yeah, he looks exactly like that guy we used to know.
And how do you know he was going to set the carpet on fire?
And he's named after that guy. Nobody calls me Chicken Biff. Nobody. I do a very terrible Michael J. Fox. See, there's a great bits though. All the setup here, yeah. And the fact that Lorraine and them don't notice Biff right there and stuff. Lorraine and George aren't looking out there. This actually is pretty. It beats him pretty bad, man. It actually is a scary moment.
Kind of like when Malfoy does a Petrificus Totalis on Harry when he's on the train and he just like kicks him in the face a couple times. Just like bam.
That's actually like that part makes me cringe every time. You know what really makes me cringe? When Harry uses the spell that he got out of the Half-Blood Prince's book. Yeah, and like all that blood's coming out of him and stuff, and like was it Snape that comes in and kind of heals him?
Enemies.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, like that part's actually intense. Man.
That was wicked in the freaking book.
They still have the rope from the kite balloon billboard celebrity thing.
So good kept it just
I
for good
use
measure.
words good. But this bit where he comes in, he's flying along. I've always remembered this, where he talks about how the DeLorean is like this 1985 DeLorean. That's a 1940 something Chrysler or whatever, and how it would cut through the DeLorean like tinfoil.
Yeah.
Cars back then were like made of solid steel.
Right?
It got 7 miles to the gallon.
I thought the DeLorean was made out of solid steel. That's why it's so heavy.
Well, but compared to Biff's car,
maybe the DeLoreans
like
had modifications.
Can, right?
I didn't know the DeLorean could fly.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this movie, Tyler?
Not this one. I've only ever seen the first one.
Oh man, yeah. This is like started the whole thing with flying cars that have their wheels go horizontal like that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a friend who used to tell me all kinds of lies. Like, you know how kids will like try to, tell each other like crazy stories like, oh, I have a friend in California and he really has a hoverboard and it's so cool and I rode on it and it's really fun. Like, he would tell me that, and he'd also say like, oh no, they actually do have cars like that where the wheels go under, but it actually has these helicopter blades and it flies around just like a helicopter. Like, he would seriously make up crap like that all the time.
Your quote friend has an imagination.
Oh right? My gosh, that kid! He was like a friend of my friend that lived in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And like you get together with him, and he always tried to one up you. Like, oh, well, my friend actually has shoes that have self-tying laces.
I actually have my own Death Star.
My friend has a lightsaber and it actually ignites. It doesn't actually cut through anything, but it still is like real like that. I mean, it would be
it's
stuff
just a
like
solid
that.
beam of light.
Yeah, because it couldn't be like too real, or else we'd lose credibility. But I don't know. I also had another friend that would tell me about how we'd go training with skinheads to fight ninjas in this field behind his house. Oh man,
that's just
how
colorful
we roll. People. So this is the part that I saw when I crawled on my hands and knees into my brother's friend's family's living room, so I didn't have to take off my shoes, so I could see Back to the Future too.
Why are they back
I
then?
love nowadays how it's all like, oh yeah? Well, give me a second. Let me Google this.
Right?
Nope, wrong.
Yeah.
It's my bona fide bullshit checker.
Oh yeah, if somebody's trying to tell you stories like that about like, oh, he's got a real hoverboard, man.
I always fact check people all the time. Oh, go to Google.
This tunnel, you see it in some of these shots, and it looks like it's about 50 feet long. You see it other times, it looks like it's about 50 miles long.
Yeah, especially with how long he drives in this tunnel sometimes.
Yeah, like what mountain does this tunnel go through? I know a lot of it's actually miniature and stuff like that, like a small set in the background, but still, it's hilarious how much it changes, like distance.
Marty McFly can take a beating.
That was a small kid. He probably grew up taking beatings all the time and learned how to stand up for himself.
Right.
Actually, kind of makes a
Especially
lot of
if they
sense
called
for
him
the character.
Chicken.
Can you imagine what the sequels would have been like with Eric Stoltz? Like if he played the other one so intensely and too seriously, and that's why they got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder how the sequels would have turned out. They definitely would have been as much fun movies, just from what I've heard and the little like screen tests and stuff I've seen. The little bit of footage I've seen.
Run, Marty, or I mean, glide, Marty.
Did I see footage or did I just see pictures? I don't know. I think my brain's playing tricks with me. But yeah.
This was
Can he just move to the other side of the tunnel fast enough?
Christopher Lloyd watched this in England with Princess Di.
Oh no!
And this was her favorite part. He said she was like laughing hysterically when he runs into the back of the manure truck.
Oh yeah. Well, sad considering Princess Di died in a car accident.
I know, right?
Oh, that actually makes me feel bad.
In a tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's horrible. Actually, with Princess Di, I'm not even kidding. I swear to you, my sister called me from where she was going to college in Massachusetts. She's like, "Hey, guess what happened today?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Guess what? This big thing happened in the news." I'm like, "I don't know. Princess Diana died," and I literally pulled it out of the top of my head. And she goes, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And I'm like, "Are you serious? Did that actually happen?"
Manure truck number 2.
And I've heard Tom Wilson quote and like say, "No, it was not real manure."
Should have been. Looks like Brussels sprouts.
That and it looks kind of like no-bake cookies. I hate manure. How much did it cost him to fix his car? Wasn't it just $50? That's not so bad.
Cost me
No, it was 300.
Yeah, back in the day, that was a couple
No,
$100.
But actually, now that I remember, it was actually $300 in 1950s money. So it's probably like $5,000.
1950s silly Monopoly money.
You really didn't know the DeLorean could fly, Tyler?
No, I didn't know that.
I'm still hung up on that.
That spurs the.
Have you
quote
literally
that I
been
use
living
all the
under a
time.
rock? Have you ever been out of that basement you lived in?
That literally spurs the.
I came out to do yoga today.
That spurs the
Well,
saying.
darn it, watch some TV like the rest of us for crying out loud.
That spurs the saying, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yeah,
That's
because
what
they didn't
Doc
need
Brown
the...
says.
Now, if you've seen the first one, it flies at the end of the first one,
Does it
remember?
fly at the end of the first one?
Yeah.
Maybe I fell asleep at the end.
Ah.
I don't ever remember it flying. I was
It's like
quite
the Lord of the,
surprised just now.
Lord of the Rings moment. He had a thought. Should I burn this? Should I keep it?
Yeah.
My precious! My precious!
I don't know, for him it would probably be a slightly... Well, I guess Frodo knew the stakes, but see, he really knew the stakes, because he was, like, there, you know? He was there at the scouring of the Shire, essentially. I mean, Marty's character was there after the Shire was scoured, and he knew the price that they'd pay for not destroying the ring and what would happen to all of Middle-earth. Because by going to the alternate Hill Valley, that was, like, super hell, because Biff was in charge.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually... I bet it was a
Same
little bit
picture.
of an easier thought to burn the almanac
Yeah.
for him.
It's true, it didn't hold nearly as much power, but money. Oof.
Yeah, it's true, man. It pretty much is the ring. I love how it changes from committed to commended. That's kind of clever. Reagan to...
Seek second term
Yeah.
instead of fifth.
Oh, Reagan.
I like how they perfectly timed this at the end with the guy who comes with the...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's totally clever. And I guess it says a lot about Western Union.
Yeah.
They would hold on to it for that long, for
Western
80 years.
Union, we go places.
The fastest way to send money.
And the guy wonders, you know, like, do they have a side bed of what's going on inside? You know, in that we've had it for so long. And what's up with the 99 right there, reverse?
They said it was just a tire chart.
Yeah, it's because it had to get up to 88 miles an hour somehow. So the thought is that it spun so fast, so quickly that when the tire marks burn like that it, because they're iconic of when it goes through time.
Right.
But the thought is that it was actually spinning in that instant.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why it left a spiral. It's not really a 99. It's a spiral of fire.
I see.
Can you read me, Doc?
Man, if you were Marty though, think of yourself in this position. I mean, you seriously would be freaked out.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Doc just left.
Yeah, and like you're stranded. You're
in the
literally
past,
stranded.
Yeah.
I mean, he's actually super smart to realize, oh wait, I'm actually still here from the first movie about to leave, and Doc is still here, so I just need to go find that Doc, and he'll help me find out a way. And Doc's reaction is so priceless.
And I like how professional this Western Union guy is, too.
Yeah.
Just like no questions asked. Oh, big giant tree down.
Well, he's such
You're out here in the middle of nowhere.
to this kid that looks like he's obviously some kind of greaser or something.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's raining, too, just to
To
accentuate
Marty
the
McFly.
dire straits of it. Are you, Miss... Yeah. I love how 50s-ish this guy is, too. He looks so, what's the word I'm looking for? He looks kind of scary. I mean, he reaches into his thing. You don't know if he's going to pull out a gun or what. But then he has got that letter on him or that umbrella.
He's
I've
the
got
dad.
something for
I've
you.
got something for you, right?
I do that all the time, but when I pull it out, it's the middle finger.
He was also the dad in Freaks and Geeks. So there's two people
Yeah.
from Freaks and Geeks in this.
Oh, they must have been fans
movie.
of this movie, the trilogy. Yeah, he turns out to be the nicest guy, even though he looked all scary and ominous before.
I've got something for you.
I think this is super clever, how Doc sets this up, but he just goes back in time with it and all. It's super cool.
It just shows that Doc's thinking about him. It's all like, okay, this is how you do everything from this point on.
Well, I mean, yeah, it shows how strong their friendship is, and their loyalty and that that great brotherly love they have for each other. I mean, they look at the shared experience that they've had that nobody else has had, nobody else can really know about. Except obviously Jennifer does by now, and Mary Steenburgen by the end of the third
That
one.
was a downpour.
Yeah, but you see, you see them drying this letter out later by the fire at the beginning of the third one.
Yeah.
But it's cool, and the way that it sets up everything for the next movie too, for the third one. Is that something breaking in the kitchen?
No.
Yeah, I hope not. But
1885!
the fact that he doesn't ask this guy for a ride back to town though, and actually runs the whole way, because it wasn't like 7 miles or something. I think somebody said it at some point. It's obvious that town isn't anywhere near this place though, so.
Right, and Doc had a bicycle, to pick up. He had enough time to buy a bicycle, and
That's true, yeah. Where would he have bought the bicycle if he had to leave the DeLorean there?
right.
I guess town's probably not that far away. They're just in that weird farm on the edge of it. Or whatever.
Bricks.
Yeah, I forgot how cool the sequence at the end of the first one is. And how exciting it is.
And then boom.
Right into the movie theater, which I think is like a stag film theater in 1985. It sounds like Triple X movies.
Wouldn't doubt it. Would not.
But this is great how they actually refilm like this exact same shot and scene, and Christopher Lloyd reproduces his, the exact same expression and everything like that. And then that twist, that instant that the Alan Silvestri music kicks in again, and it totally puts that spin on the whole franchise.
He's so excited right here, and then he's so perplexed.
He's so shocked. Yeah.
He's like, wait, what?
Great Scott!
I hope he's wearing his brown pants.
Yeah, then how he comes in like this. We got to say something about Alan Silvestri's music and how cool it is, and he's doing all. I mean, he did the music on Predator, which we did for our first podcast. He did the music on the Avengers. He's done pretty much every movie that Zemeckis has done up after this.
Mm-hmm.
So he's won Academy Awards and stuff, but the score on this is every bit as memorable as Superman or anything John Williams has ever done, like Star Wars.
If you play it, you could pick this song out,
Yeah.
of 100 songs. Yeah,
To be
Absolutely.
concluded.
I always thought it was weird that it said that instead of to be continued. I love how they give you a nice sneak peek of the first movie right here, right before the credits roll. Did I said the next? Well, whatever.
Oh, I thought you said the first movie.
McFly! His whole outfit is like pink with little
it's kind of a weird
atoms
choice.
on him.
I love his gun that Doc Brown has, his big sniper rifle. It's kind of a weird choice, actually, that they go from all this future stuff and 50s stuff to an Old West movie. But man, that movie's good.
Yeah, it
What did
is.
you say? I could shoot a gnat off a horse from however
1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Try me.
It's the cavalry! Yeah, we'll have to do Back to the Future 3 one of these days.
Definitely.
And number 1.
Yeah, sure, why not? Alright.
We will be back to the future. Parts 3.
As you can tell, here we are in 2015, and it looks exactly like the 2015 in this movie.
Absolutely does.
Ford probes.
Yeah, not so much anymore.
It's kind of died out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But any shout-outs you want to give there to Fresh?
Shout out to FanX. Woo! Gonna be there all weekend.
Lucky guy.
Taking my niece and nephew. Gonna have a lot of fun. Can't wait to see a couple panels.
Who are you looking forward to?
Definitely looking forward to that one with Shannon Martinson and
Jay Whittaker. And
Jay Whittaker and them. The good movies, bad descriptions.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
And I'll probably run into Lee George Cade. Here's where I segue into the Frisch thing.
Very smooth.
Frisch Compassionate Eatery. It's 145 East, 1300 South, Suite 201, with a focus on full-flavored plant-based food. So you're not just eating raw kale chips.
I could have sworn you were about to say full frontal nudity.
Frontal
what
nudity.
What kind of place is this?
As long as the wife isn't there, maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Don't let freaking Wade make your
Frisch
coffee.
once, and his comment wasn't about the animal-friendly food. It was about all the beautiful chicks that worked there.
Okay.
So go in, get you some nice healthy food. Eat something other than animal products.
And one
trust
place,
you. Trust me, it's good.
One place that you probably won't find too many beautiful chicks working is Dr. Volt's Comic Connection.
Unless you look at Harley, and it ain't Harley Quinn. It's a pretty girl.
As for Harley Tilly, he's the prettiest one there.
He looks like Thor.
What's their address again? 3300 South and
2100 East.
Ish.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Go to a different podcast. You'll say it at the end.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
We'll have a script one of these days. We can just ramble it off.
And please check out my brother's website, MatthewArt.com, or Google Matthew Armstrong, Matthew S. Armstrong.
S.
And I think either way it comes up first with his stuff. But he's an inspiration to us all, and I probably wouldn't be into most of these movies if it wasn't for him and his influence growing up. So
Definitely.
he's partly to blame for most of this podcast.
And make sure to finish your education, even if it requires you to quit your job.
Go to school, kids.
That's the lesson Josh learned today. But
check your mental health. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself in mental ways as well as physical ways. Stay communicating with people. Check for depression.
Also, look
Help your
around.
friends.
Hopefully, sooner or later, we'll get to parts 1 and 3 of this trilogy of movies. But I don't know if we got even planned what we're going to do for our next podcast. I had a couple ideas, but keep staying tuned. Keep joining us. And until that time, bangerang.
May the Schwartz be with you.
May the Schwartz be with you all. And stop.